Well, breaking news, reaction has begun pouring in after reports that Slovakia's Prime Minister Robert Fico was shot at after a government off-site meeting. Prime Minister Fico's condition was not immediately known. The Slovak president has condemned what he calls a brutal and reckless attack. CNN's international diplomatic editor Nick Robertson covering the very latest for us. Nick, what have you learned?
Yeah, Becky, we've been able to look at more video that's on social media that shows the aftermath of the attack. We can identify it, the location, because we've seen some of these images from different angles before, but this is a new image, and what you can see in this image is someone who appears to be the Prime Minister being sort of carried, raced and run several yards into his waiting vehicle by security services. Those men, you can see the sort of center of the picture there. We have video taken, I would say, from the left of the image you're looking at there, that would show some of those security officials picking up a man and moving him. You can see his legs sort of working underneath him, but he's clearly not moving under his own motion. He's clearly being helped by the security services. And then we understand he was taken to the hospital in this town, and you're seeing images of the hospital there. And we've now been hearing, and this is being reported by Reuters, quoting the hospital spokesperson at the hospital the Prime Minister was initially taken to, and they say that he arrived there conscious, that they have stabilized his wounds, and they say wounds, gunshot wounds, and they say that he has now been transferred to a higher level facility. And we understand he's being taken to that higher level facility by an air ambulance. A helicopter has been dispatched by the main medical services in Slovakia, and he's being taken. Now, we don't know where he's being taken, but to a higher level medical service. So conscious when he arrived at the hospital, injuries stabilized, and then transferred on for higher level care. We can't read too much into that, but again, I think it would be likely if he were at a hospital and he was in a desperate condition, they probably would have tried to provide longer term service. But the fact that this has happened very quickly and moved out to higher level care, again, we don't know what this means. I mean, stabilized can mean many, many different things, but conscious, I think, is the key there. Conscious when he arrived.
Let's just have a look at the images again that we have cleared here at CNN, and we're pushing to clear more of the scene, of course. The Slovak president has condemned what he calls a brutal and reckless act. Let's just bring up the image again, and for purposes of those who may have just joined us, Nick, just enlighten us on what we are looking at here.
Yeah, a very experienced Prime Minister, Robert Fico, been Prime Minister 2006 to 2010, 2012 to 2018, leads a leftist populist party that has been sort of seen as sympathetic towards Vladimir Putin, opposed to the European Union and NATO sending troops, sending weapons and military support to Ukraine. Softened his position when he came into office late last year, September, with the elections. He came into office in October. It won 79 out of 150 seats in the parliament. But this is completely out of the ordinary. He was at an off-site government meeting in Handlover, about 2 hours drive northeast of Bratislava, the capital. We don't know if it's been transferred to the capital. We don't know who else was in that meeting. We don't know who the gunman was. He is someone who has quite strong views on issues like immigration and these types of issues. Again, we don't have any clues. We do know, however, that the assailant, or the person who appeared to be the assailant, was knocked to the ground, bundled to the ground by security officials who we'd seen in the video, kneeling on the assailant and restraining him. But those few details coming from the nearby hospital in Handlover from the spokesman there.
And just to be absolutely clear, the images that you saw there the video of the Slovak Prime Minister Fico were just moments before this shooting incident. He was speaking at a press conference just moments before he was shot and injured. More from Nick as we get it. Nick, thank you.